Hi, good evening. This is Professor Zarcy. I'm going to do a quick demonstration of how to use Excel to solve problems for the time value of money. Um, it is Excel is a very powerful tool, and you can solve all of the problems uh, with time value of money using Excel. There are, in terms of, would highly suggest that you get a feel for how the time value of money works. There are some excellent videos from the Khan Academy and other ones listed. Take a look at those, but also feel free to contact me if you have any questions. In looking at the time value of money, there are 5 basic values that we use in the time value of money. They are the future value, we have present value, we have number of periods, we have interest rate, and payment. The idea here is that if you know any 4 of these 5, you can calculate the 5th one. Now in Excel, you can solve for them by their abbreviations. Future value is FV. Present value is PV. Number of periods is MPER. Interest rate is rate. And payment is PMT. Those are their abbreviations for those. Now you can solve a problem for the first thing to do at a time value of money problem is to decide which one of the 5 of these items are you solving for. And then you can utilize the formula to be able to do that. For example, if you're looking to solve a question, how much is $1,000 deposited in a bank at 8% for 10 years? How much is that going to be worth? So we can go, and that is, we're looking at something in the future. So we're taking a certain amount of money or value today and looking at it, what is it going to be at some time in the future? So to do this solving, you can just click on an empty cell, put the equal sign in there, and if we're solving for future value, we just put in FV, and we open up the parentheses, and we get the formula that we need. So if we're going to do that, the first thing we need is the rate, and we said the rate was 8%. Okay, comma. Next thing is the number of periods. We said this is an annual interest rate, so the period is years, so we put in 10 years. The next one is payment. There are no payments involved. We're going to make an initial deposit, and we're going to leave it in there for the full 10 years. And then the present value. And the present value we're going to say is going to be a minus $1,000. And we can close the parentheses. And we can hit that, and it says that amount of $1,000 left in the bank for at 8% for 10 years at the end of that period of time will be worth $2,158.92. Now, I put it in as a negative and it comes out as a positive. In Excel, we use the shortcut so that money you take out of your pocket, and in this case we're taking money out of our pocket and giving it to the bank. So we're taking $1,000 out of our pocket. And when 10 years from now, we will get back 2,158, and that's a positive number, and that's money coming back into our pocket. So it will be negative going out when we initiate the deposit, and it'll be positive when we get the money back in 10 years. Okay. If I had changed the number, if I had put it in as a positive $1,000, it changes the answer to a negative. Same amount, but it's just negative. It's just the way that Excel does that. Okay, that's the future value. For present value, you can do the same thing. Say, with a future value, we're taking money from the present and seeing what it's going to be worth in the future. In solving for the present value, we're taking money we're going to be receiving in the future and discounting it back to today to see how much that is worth in today's dollars. So if we're solving for a present value, we put the equal sign, we do the PV, we open up the parentheses, and we get the same thing. We look at the rate. And the rate is, we're going to do this the same way. We're going to say its rate is 8%. The number of periods is 10 years. Again, there's going to be no payment involved. And then the last thing is, what is the future value? And the future value we're going to say is the 2158.92. Close the parentheses, and we get, it says that's worth $1,000 today. Again, we put it in as a positive, so it comes back a negative. If we had put it in negative, it will come back as a positive. Same situation. Now this makes some level of sense, because if you're doing this calculation from our standpoint, which is we're putting the money in the bank, this makes sense because it's coming out of our pocket and going into the bank and then coming into our bank. But from the bank's perspective, the money is coming in at $1,000, and in 10 years they will owe $2,800. We can calculate for the number of periods. Same thing. We put in the equal sign, NPER, open the parentheses, and we come up with the rate. So if the rate is 8%, count, the payment is 0. The present value is minus $1,000, and the future value is 2158.92. And we come up with 9.9997, or basically 10 years is going to be what that is. Now, if I had made both positive, if both of the numbers are positive, instead of a minus 1,000, I leave it as a positive 1,000, taking the minus sign out. You'll notice that Excel will throw its hands up and say, I can't calculate. One has to be positive and one has to be negative. So if you get this hashtag num, just change one of the two from positive to negative, and it will be able to calculate. Same thing for the interest rate. Equals rate, open the parentheses, and the number of periods. Number of periods was 10 years. the payment is 0. The present value is a minus 1,000, and the future value is 2158.92. And we close the parentheses, and it gives us 8%. Now, when we do that, you may want to add some decimal places on there to see if it comes out. Now, payment. Payment is what we use for an annuity, which is a series of equal payments. So we can calculate a payment. So we can calculate it, and to do this, we'll put in the equal sign. We'll put in the PMT. We open up the rate or open up the parentheses, and it gives us what we need to be able to do. Now, for this example, let's say you're going to borrow $1,000. You're going to borrow it for 8 years, and you're going to borrow it at 10% interest rate. Okay, so we're going to calculate the payment that will be necessary. Now, the rate we said was 10%. 10%. The number of periods was 8 years. And the present value is the value of the loan, which is $1,000, which will leave as positive. And the future value of the loan, which is what is the loan going to be worth when it's all paid off, and that is 0. Close the parentheses, and we would here as our payment, $187.44. Now, as we were doing this, we'll open this up again, or we'll open one up, and we'll do this again, equals PMT. And you'll notice at the end it says type. Now, the type is an indication of when the payments are made. So for the type, if it is an ordinary annuity, and an ordinary annuity, the payments are made at the end of the period. So that, for example, at the end of the year, you pay $187.44. At the end of either your mortgage or your car payment, these are ordinary annuities, and you make your payments at the end of each month. Now, if it's an annuity due is different from an ordinary annuity, because in an annuity due, the payments are made at the beginning of the period. So if we did the same thing, where we had the rate, which was 10%, the number of periods was 8 years. The present value, again, is is $1,000, and the future value of the loan is 0 because it's going to be all paid off. Now, if the payment is at the end of the period or the beginning of the period, it says here. So if you're paying it at the start of each year instead of at the end of each year, we put a 1 in here, and we calculate that, and we see for that. Now your payment is only $170.40. So by paying early, in other words, paying at the beginning of each year, you only get, your payment is only $170.40. So those are some of the basic ways that you can use Excel to handle your problems. As you do your problems this week, one of the things that you might want to consider doing is, if you're going to use Excel, just do your Excel spreadsheet, and then when you're finished, just save that spreadsheet, and you can just turn in the spreadsheet as your answer with your answers. If you do that, and I can open up the spreadsheet, I can take a look at all of your problems, and I can see if you were on the right track. So anyways, good luck with your problems. If you have any questions or you have any uh, problems with Excel or with any of the time value of money principles, don't hesitate to call. I'm going to be here. Um, so just give me a call and I'll be very happy to talk you through whatever your problems are. So good luck and have a good week.